This week at Street Riding American Style, we're off to Osage City, Kansas. Population 2,862. There are so many rides to choose from today, so we sent everybody in different directions scoping out all the cars and trucks. So don't you go anywhere because Street Riding American Style is coming up next.
Support for Street Riding American Style is provided in part by Kansas BG Incorporated, a distributor of BG products. Kansas BG is dedicated to the development of preventative maintenance service in vehicles for consumers and fleets. Kansas BG provides the driving community with products and services of automotive maintenance. More information can be found on the web at kansasbg.com and bgfindashop.com. And Ren Radio. Ren Radio can be heard from the web on your computer or smartphone, playing oldies from the 50s, 60s, and early 70s. Oldies like Elvis, Chuck Berry, and the Skyliners, and many more. Nothing but oldies. Ren Radio is online all the time, on the web at wrenradio.net.
Street riding's an art. It's a passion. It's a lifestyle. Guys and gals of all ages in communities all across this great land of ours are designing and building street rods that deserve a thumbs up. Our mission? To find these works of art and showcase them so that this passion is never lost, because street riding is more than just a hobby, it's an addiction. This is Street Riding American Style. Si, is there any place you want to go today?
Dude, of course, if I have my choice,
Right.
I hear that Osage City is putting on a heck of a car show.
Ah, good call.
Yeah, and I got a better idea.
I'm listening.
I'm gonna say we do 8 cars.
Wait, 8?
Yeah, I know. You do 2.
Right.
I do 2.
Right.
Shelly does 2. Tim does 2. That's 2, 4. That's 8.
That
That's
is
8
8.
cars.
You're right, that is 8.
It's an awesome idea, and you guys come along with us. Guys, I have been here all day looking for the perfect car, and I found it. I can hardly contain myself. It is amazing. The owner, this is Gene right here. Gene did it right. Gene knows hot rods. Gene, what are we looking at?
1940 Ford sedan.
Why a Ford sedan? Why a 1940?
Well, I'll tell you, I used to have a truck, and me and my brother-in-law ran together, and he had this car, and he died of cancer. So I bought it from his wife, and then me and my son redid it all.
A tribute to your brother-in-law. You and your son built this car.
Yeah.
That's what hot rodding's all about, Gene. It's about family, it's about friendship, it's about love, it's just that heart. This one really screams at my heart, right? Because it's just so old school cool, but yet classy and clean at the same time. What color is this?
It's a Euro primer.
Euro primer.
Yeah.
It's just a primer.
It's just a primer.
So I guess, you see a lot of the guys, they just prime their car and they leave it that way. And back in the day, I'm sure that's what they did too. You see a lot of that. She's beautiful, man.
Well, thank you.
I saw you coming in here and I stopped and I was like, whew. I look at the paint and I'm like, wait a minute, that's almost flat, but it's got a little bit of a sheen to it. How'd you get that?
A lot of wax.
So you put wax on primer?
Yeah.
You didn't clear coat it?
No,
it's got a clear coat.
No, it's a urethane primer, so it's got a hardener in it. So, so you can pretty much do what you want. Yeah, in fact, I buffed the top out with compound.
So yeah, Gene, it's got a different sheen to it. You've got the almost like a flat here, and I can see it shiny up here, and that's just from you buffing it out.
Yeah.
That's crazy, man. Now, in 1940, would it have come with louvers in the hood like this? Did you do those yourself?
Had them done, yeah.
You had them done?
Yeah.
Gene, this thing is so gorgeous and so clean, and so that's what draws me to it. It's so sharp and clean and classy. How many hours do you have into this?
I think we tore it down, redid everything, new front end, new everything. We did everything. About a year. About a year's worth of.
Wow. How about some fun stories? I see you got your pretty bride here with you. Do you guys take this thing out to the grocery store or just to car shows? What do? Cruise around town?
We live out in the country on a gravel road.
No, you don't.
Yeah, we do. Or you can probably see now the dust and stuff on it. I haven't cleaned it up. But we got 3/4 of a mile of gravel road, so.
Well, that's a good reason to keep it this color, I guess.
So we usually just go to the bigger car shows and car shows like this.
What's under the hood? What's in the motor? What's it got?
Small block 327 Chevrolet.
So that's pretty decent. I mean, that gets you down the road, okay, right?
Yeah.
You have to break the tires loose? Do you ever?
I don't, no, not really. I've got that riding with me, so.
Well, get in. Let's see. Let's find out.
Now we don't get much over about 75 mile an hour.
It's a cruiser.
Yeah. I thought about painting it, and then I decided I like it this way.
I don't know if I would. It's kind of unique, and it's just so classy. My advice, leave it as is. It's a good looking car. Is there anything about this car that it's like that tiny little detail that you wish people would notice that they never notice?
I don't know. I did all the pinstriping and all that.
You did everything yourself except for the louvers. You had that done for you, but everything you did yourself?
Yeah.
Man, good work, Gene. I'm kind of jealous, man. You got lake pipes. Are they hooked up?
They're hooked to the muffler.
No kidding.
Yeah.
So it's real hot rod, kids. This is awesome. Gene, I got one more question.
Yes, sir.
Is there any way we can hear this bad boy?
Sure.
Let's fire it up.
Larry had a choice between a Corvette and a 36 Ford Coupe. Larry chose the Coupe. Good choice, Larry. And we have it next on Street Rotting American Style.
Larry, this car just screamed green when I walked by this thing. But what am I looking at here?
You're looking at a 1936 5-window coupe.
Now, why would you go with a 5-window coupe?
Well, because we were driving down the road going to a camp down in Kansas City.
Right.
And this guy said, there's a car down there that you might be interested in. I said, that's the car I want.
So you were interested. He wasn't lying about that.
No, I wasn't interested. It was either this or a Corvette. And I said, no, I don't.
So you picked this over the Corvette.
I did.
Okay, I'll give that to you. I think you made a good choice. I love this thing.
Thank you.
When people walk by this thing, what is the first thing they notice about this?
The color.
It is the color,
It
isn't
is the color.
So it doesn't just scream at me, it screams at other people going by.
It does.
I looked under the hood. It says Doy. Who's Doy?
Thank you for asking. Doy is the nickname that my mom and dad, or my mom was nicknamed that because her name was Dorothy.
Oh, really?
And so her brothers and sisters called her Doy.
So it's dedicated to your mom.
It's dedicated to Mom, but I didn't want to name it Gertrude or Hazel or those 1936 names. And so I finally went with, there it is, Doy.
Doy. What kind of engine is that then?
I thought it was the GM 350, but it's not. It's a Pontiac 305.
Wait, so were you misled when you bought it?
No, I thought it was the 350, and I did some checking because I needed a part for it.
Right.
Checked out the motor number, and it wasn't a 350, it was a 305.
Okay, were you happy about that?
Yeah, I was. It's a Le Mans 305, and I loved it.
So you got a smile on your face just for the idea that you were wrong.
Yeah, yeah, I was glad. I was pleased.
You got the bra on the front.
Yeah.
Why a bra on the front?
I like driving it, so knowing at this time of the year I'm going to catch bugs and stuff like that, I thought I'd better do that and hide the front end bugs and stuff like that.
So this is a driver.
Oh, it's a driver.
It's not just a showpiece.
No.
So you enjoy driving this thing?
I love driving this car.
Do you enjoy seeing yourself when you drive by a window downtown and see your reflection?
No, I don't do that.
You don't look at yourself?
I just look at people's smiles when they go by and they wave, and that does it all for me.
Okay, so you don't care about your reflection.
Yeah.
You just care about what the people are looking at.
Yeah.
And it is. You're going to get a lot of heads turning. With the sun visor too.
Well, the visor was on an original also, and I thought, the guy that was redoing this thing, he said, nah. I said, yes, please do, because it will set it off, because you don't see very many visors on vehicles. So anyway, I was just tickled pink to get it. It's original aluminum visor for it.
Oh.
It was on it.
I am glad you kept the visor on this thing. So the visor's protecting the interior. What kind of seats are they in here, though?
Okay, those came out of a Ford Econoline van that had headrests on them.
Wait, there's no headrests on these things?
Nope. I took them to the guy that did the upholstery in South Hutch, Kansas, and what he did is he said, I'd like to do your upholstery, but those headrests are not era you know, so they didn't go with the 30s.
Right.
And he says, I'll do your upholstery if I can take those those headrests off. And I said, go for it.
So the headrests are out because of Eric.
He didn't even know if he liked the idea of the bucket seats, but
really?
You know, because it was bench seats. But you know, this was comfortable, and you know, we went with that.
It's very cool. Well, I think you have something you can brag on, but I want to see if you can brag on this. Can you brag on how it sounds?
I can.
So can I hear this bad boy?
I'll let you hear it.
All right, that's what I want to hear.
Okay.
Tim, this is a gorgeous truck you were looking at. In fact, there are gorgeous trucks all over this show.
I can't believe how many trucks have rolled in here.
I know.
I've got an awesome idea.
Okay.
You're gonna go find some Fords. I'm gonna go find some Chevys. Let's see who can find the best truck.
Oh, you know it'll be me.
No way.
Okay, Lane, I'm coming down the street and I see this gorgeous truck. Tell me what I am looking at here.
You're looking at a 1954 F100.
Tell me how you came across this truck.
I found it when I lived in Erie, Kansas. My dad had never had a truck.
Okay.
So I drove it from Erie, Kansas. I gave it to my dad.
Uh-huh.
And when we got the truck back, it had sat out behind one of his barns on the farm for almost 40 years.
Really? So I'm guessing it wasn't in this kind of condition when you found it again.
No. Very, very rough.
So tell me about the color on this thing. I love it.
This is the original color, and it is called Sea Haze Green.
Sea Haze Green. I like it. And when I first looked at it, I thought, well, it's kind of a robin's egg blue, but it's really not blue. I could see that green coming out of there. So this is great. And you have restored it to the original condition. Is that correct?
Absolutely, uh-huh.
The other thing that I saw about this is I'm walking up and down the road. I think this is the only truck that I've seen that's actually restored in original condition.
I believe it is. You know, we've pretty much seen all of them that were here. Mm-hmm. Of course, I know we've missed some, but I believe it is.
Well, how nice that this has been in the family so long, and I hope that you have it in the family a long, long time and can pass it down to kids or grandkids. That'd be great.
We're planning on it.
All righty, Tim, I got one of my Fords. Let's see what you got on the Chevy row.
All right, Shelly, I found my Chevy. This thing is one bad hot rod. There are those who's gonna wanna call it a rat rod, but we're gonna find out from Eric why it's not. Eric, what are we looking at here?
This is a 1954 Chevy half-ton pickup.
And this thing is full patina. And that's why some people are gonna want to call it a rat rod, but it is not, because you've restored a lot of this truck.
Correct. It sits on a late model S10 chassis with a V8 and an automatic overdrive. It's all modern interior, set up for air conditioning, power steering, disc brakes.
So you've redone just about everything but the exterior of this truck.
Correct.
And tell me the story on this truck. I mean, is this kind of the condition you got it in, or what was your goal with this? Where did you get this from?
It was a running, driving truck set up on the chassis with the engine transmission in it.
That's kind of cool. So that was kind of your idea, was to take a truck and go to like the modern interior and engine bay and bed, but then keep the patina?
Kind of a rusty sleeper. You never know what you're going to find.
Tell me a little bit about the interior. What have you done to the interior?
We changed the interior color, steering wheel, carpet, sound deadener, El Camino seat, upholstered headliner and door panels, and just made it very comfortable.
All right, Eric, you got to tell me about the Cushman in the back.
The Cushman was something that I have been looking for a long time. It matched the truck, kind of hit the color, kind of hit the same era.
Does this thing actually run?
Oh, absolutely.
How close are the years to each other?
They're about a year apart.
Man, so you really nailed it on the
Right,
Cushman.
yeah.
That is awesome. Well, Eric, this is probably my favorite Chevy truck I've ever seen. Shelly, let's see what your next Ford looks like, because I know this had to top your last Ford.
Do you want to know how to make a Chevy purist cringe? Put a Hemi in a Chevy coupe. That's exactly what JT did. And it's next on Street Rotting American Style.
Guys, I can't help it. I'm walking around here and I see this beast sitting here and I start looking at all of the craziness involved in putting this thing together, and it's not what I'm used to. So I thought I'd talk to its owner. I got JT right here. JT, tell us what we're looking at.
You're looking at a 1929 Chevy Coupe body with 330 Hemi DeSoto.
Whoa. You got a 330 Hemi in a Chevy.
Yeah. It makes a lot of Chevy people mad, but I've always been a Mopar guy, so I thought this would be a nice little swing of things to put a Mopar engine in a Chevy body. So
Well, it's pretty cool that way. So now, a couple things I want to talk about. It's a Chevy. It's not a Ford. How many guys misconstrue that when they look at it first off?
yeah, quite a few. You know, there's not a lot of Chevys that survive. There's a lot of wood in them. You know,
I noticed that, and you still have some of the wood in here. This is a steel car.
It's correct.
This is all. This
It's
is
a
real
Survivor,
deal.
yeah. And it was a hot rod back in the day, and that's the original paint, you know, from the 60s.
So this is a real Survivor. It's a real hot rod.
That it is.
Real paint right on it. And dude, you know what really drew me to this thing? You guys, it's got like burn marks in the side on the doors from the paint. And I think that is awesome because that's just true hardcore, just sweat and power pouring out of this thing. Speaking of power, how many horses are we getting out of this thing?
Well, probably around 400 high threes, but the body weighs about 800 pounds, so it's like.
And with them skinny tires, it'll roast them easy.
It will. That it will.
Do you?
Well,
Just between us.
absolutely.
Heck yeah, we do. I want to roast it too. This is great. Something else I find is kind of interesting. You've got treaded tires. Like these are almost like drive tires.
They're trailer tires, actually.
They're trailer tires?
They're trailer tires, and that's white wall paint.
So whoa! You made your own white walls with paint?
I did.
I didn't know you could do that. I've heard of guys grinding them down, you know. Hey man, you got marbles in the filter bowl. I've never seen that before. Where'd you get that idea from?
Well,
does it serve a purpose?
Not really.
Looks cool.
Maybe that's the only art on the thing. I've got a good friend, Ken Jack, helped me build this Hemi motor, and he's an old hot rodder from back in the day. And he said, you know what we need to do? We need to put some marbles in it. And I said, I've never seen that in all those magazines.
Yeah,
I've never seen that. He said, we used to do that in the 60s. So I said, Ken, we're doing that.
That's cool. How old is that Pepsi can? And where did you find it?
Garage sale, 1976 Pepsi can.
Also, it's not all pre-60.
It isn't. I think that's it.
Interviews are. You got a 1929 Chevy.
Correct.
But that's not a 29 grill.
No, that's a 34 Chevy grill. And I was looking at 29 Chevy grills. They're a little square.
Yeah, probably similar to what Ford would have done,
correct,
I imagine.
So what I wanted to do is, you know, back in the day, a kid would want to upgrade, you know. He would want to go with a little newer look, so that's why I moved. The 34 is a little nicer looking grill, so I thought that's what a kid would do in the 60s. He would probably try to upgrade his 29 to a 34.
Exactly. It's cool, and that's another thing that drew me to it. I'm like, no, wait a minute, what are we looking at here? So I got one more question for you. Can we hear this bad boy?
Let's do it.
Let's do it. Woo-hoo.
Tony has a perfect formula for building a rat rod. Cut up a bunch of old cars, throw the pieces into a pile, and see what emerges. Well, we are impressed on what emerged here, and we have Tony's rat rod next on Street Rodding American Style.
Tony, this is bad. I mean, this is bad. But tell me exactly, what am I looking at here?
You're looking at what originally started in life as a 1966 Chevrolet fleet side pickup.
What is it now?
It's a rat rod. This one here just happened.
It just happened?
It just happened. I cut it up into a bunch of pieces and it just jigsaw puzzled back.
So you did not have a plan for this when you started putting this together?
I sketched up a general idea and it kind of went that direction.
But when I look at this, it looks like an old Roundy Round.
It is.
So it's based on the old Roundy Round, the old track racers.
Originally I wanted a Model A. I didn't get the Model A, so I kind of built the body to be similar to a Model A. And then once I did the top, I stepped back and said, wow, I've got me a mid to early 60s dirt track car.
But now let me look at this top. You said a top here. We're talking about the roof, right?
Yeah.
This roof looks like a hood from an early 60s Chevy pickup.
It is. It is actually the hood off a 1960 Chevrolet Apache that I found in a salvage yard, upside down, rotting away, spun it around backwards, had to put taillights somewhere. Where the turn signals were and are now completely done to where it's my brake lights, turn signals.
That is awesome. You did a traditional items on the engine, what I see in a rat rod. You've done the whiskey bottle for overflow, is that true?
Yeah.
Okay, anything else you've done that you say is a rat rod theme for the engine?
My Pabst Blue Ribbon can over there, that's actually the clutch reservoir.
So that's really active.
It's really active.
So you unscrew it.
Fill it.
That is
the
cool.
clutch reservoir.
Now, I'm looking here. I don't see an alternator. Where is the alternator?
Alternator's on the rear end.
What do you mean it's on the rear end?
It's attached to the rear end of attached to the 9-inch Ford rear end.
So you're still going after that roundy round feel and having the drive of the rear end power this.
Yes. Only out of necessity.
What was the necessity?
There's no room to put it up front.
Well,
you have no room to put it up front unless you wanted to put the alternator so far up and high it looked gaudy. But then again, I didn't want to take away from a big block Chevy water
That's
pump
right.
on a small block Chevrolet.
Good point. I think that's a genius. But now look at all the accessories you've done, such as I'm seeing the side mirrors. I'm looking at also what may be the gas pedal.
Actually, it's the clutch and the brake pedal are both rods and pistons, just like the. I just have a bunch of junk laying around the shop and decided, hey, that'd work for this and that'd work for that.
The tires on this are also.
These are asphalt takeoffs. They're used in same as like your Bush cars,
right?
Your asphalt modifieds, all of that stuff.
Meant for left turn only.
Left turn only.
So you'll get there just a long time.
It takes me a long time to get back around.
Tony, I'm looking at these back tires. At first I said, Hoosier. I had to continue reading around. Who's your daddy?
Who's your daddy? Actually, a friend of mine, the one said, dude, you need to put Who's your daddy on your tires. So I did it, and then it now stuck. So
I love it.
So most people are now referring to this as the Who's Your Daddy car instead of what it was actually nicknamed from friends of mine in Kansas City.
And it was originally nicknamed?
Frankenrat.
Frankenrat. You know what? I like Who's Your Daddy.
Oh, yeah.
I like Who's Your Daddy. Well, I got a question for you, because we got the question, Who's Your Daddy? But I want one more. Can I hear this bad rat?
Sure can.
That'd be awesome.
Okay, Ben, tell me what I'm looking at, because I've never seen one of these before.
It's a 1950 Ford F1.
Okay, F1, and I'm like, I've heard of the F100s and, but I've never heard of an F1. When did they start making these?
1948 was the first year for the F1.
Okay, and how long did they make the F1?
Till 52.
Till 52.
And then it went to F100.
Of course, as you're coming down the road, you're going to see this great bright yellow. What made you decide to go with that color?
I'm not actually sure.
Kind of happened?
It used to be aqua, and then,
Really?
and then it got wrecked, and I decided to go yellow with it.
I like it. It's unique. It's different. I love the grill. This is stock. This is the way it would have been.
That's stock. The stainless trim was an option on it, but everything else is stock.
Now, I was peeking under the hood a little earlier. Tell me about what you've got under there.
It's a 226 flathead 6-cylinder.
And that is not original to that.
It was a V8 truck.
So you had a V8 in it. What made you switch to the 6?
It was locked up, so it wasn't even really rebuildable. So we come across this motor and good deal and got it painted up and put it in.
Okay, great. Is there anything else that you've done to the truck that you'd like people to notice?
There's a lot of little stuff on it, just subtle things here and there, but the motor is kind of the big thing with me. Just unique and different. But
yeah, well, it is a great looking truck. Well, Ben, thanks for chatting with us about the truck. This is a great little thing. I'm so glad I got to see one. So, all right, Tim, let's see what you got.
All right, Shelly, that was one sweet 1950 F1, but I found an even better Chevy pickup. Max, what are we looking at here?
A 1957 Chevy pickup.
And this truck has to have a cool story to go with it.
This truck we bought back in the early 80s. It was my oldest son, and we started tearing it down and taking it apart, and he found his love of life and got married, and it never got put back together, and he passed away in '98 with cancer, and it set in pieces up until about 3 years ago, and I started putting it back together.
I'm really sorry to hear about your son, but it's so cool that you were able to take his truck and then finish it. Was this kind of the idea of what he had in finishing it?
Well, I don't know for sure. Kids are different than us older folks about a lot of things, but
I feel like I'm one of those young guys, and I love what you did with this truck. I love the stance of this truck. I love the color of this truck. I feel like you built something that your son definitely would have to love.
Well, I'd like to think that he would.
I noticed your front grille. I was like, that cannot be stock, or part of it can't be stock. What's the story on the front grille?
Well, the front grille had been damaged somewhat, so I just kind of did my own thing with it, and I took pieces and put it together and finished it out, and I think it looks pretty good.
I think it looks super clean. It really cleans up that front end really well. All right, Max, I absolutely love what you have done to this truck. This is an amazing build. I know that your son has to be proud of it. I know that I am. I know that this is probably my favorite Chevy pickup I've ever seen. Sorry, Eric, but this thing is amazing. All right, guys, Shelly and I found our Chevy and Fords. It's up to you to pick out which is your favorite.
Osage City, not a disappointment.
Dude, that show was legit. And it was one
was.
of those shows where as soon as you get out of the car, you start looking around and there's bam, 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 cars everywhere.
As
They're
far
awesome.
as you can see.
Yes, they were awesome. I would have hit them all.
Yes.
And I'm glad that we had Shelly and Tim there.
Right.
Because they hit the trucks.
They did. Things we did not find, they found.
That's right, that's right. And what I always say, the more cars, the more trucks, the better off we are.
So if you want to see more cars and trucks, then join us again next week and you'll see why street rotting is more than just a hobby.
'Tis an addiction.
Support for Street Rotting American Style is provided in part by Kansas BG Incorporated, a distributor of BG products. Kansas BG is dedicated to the development of preventative maintenance service in vehicles for consumers and fleets. Kansas BG provides the driving community with products and services of automotive maintenance. More information can be found on the web at kansasbg.com and bgfindashop.com. And Ren Radio. Ren Radio can be heard from the web on your computer or smartphone, playing oldies from the 50s, 60s, and early 70s. Oldies like Elvis, Chuck Berry, and the Skyliners, and many more. Nothing but oldies. Ren Radio is online all the time, on the web at wrenradio.net.